Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Just like I said I would in the last video, we are moving on now to the second song on Sleep Token's album, This Place Will Become Your Tomb. The song is called Hypnosis, and I've got the visualizer pulled up here just so we have, once again, something to watch while we do it. Right off the bat, kind of skipping forward a little bit, we see that we have the same kind of ocean motif going on with the, I guess, mascot, right, for this song being, looks like an octopus or squid or something like that here. But I'm going to go back to the start, and we're going to jump right into it. All right, so we got some bubbles in the background, still underwater, it looks like. It's a nasty guitar tone too. So I hate to stop it so early, but as we can see, if you're expecting a slow build on this one, we just get right into this song. And we've got this repetitive pattern going on here with this kind of wavering guitar tone. I don't know, there's like a lot of delay on it, I guess I would say, and reverb. So it's just this very spacey sound. And even after all the guitars come in, that idea is being iterated upon by layering another type of sound on top of it. Now, it's very faint so far, but there is kind of like a synthy thing going on in the back as well. I don't know how to describe it. I'll point it out whenever it becomes more clear later in the track. But just to get us into the start of the verse here, I'm going to go back a few seconds. Drumming is phenomenal. Yep. The fills are so tasty here. Oh my god. Oh my god. So we have this theme just keeps going in the guitar work in the background, the kind of guitar melody, if you want to call it that. Very similar to Atlantic so far, where we've got this repetitiveness going on there. That's broken up by bringing the sound up and down depending on what the song needs. So obviously we brought it down for the verse so that Vessel can start laying his vocals on top. And these are very drawn out like vocalizations here. Like he's letting the syllables draw themselves out. And he'll like kind of breathe out on the end in this like almost agonized sound. Pleading is probably the best way I can think to describe how this verse feels in a word, right? Because he is, even in the lyrics, which we'll get to later, I'm not going to focus so much on those going through the first time, but just the way that his performance is, even without knowing every single word, we can kind of feel the emotion here is like pleading, right? So I'm going to go back to get the transition here. Just repeating the heavy part. You can hear it. Okay, so that was the synth part I was talking about. If you could hear it there, it's like this very echoey. It just, I don't know if it's because of the artwork and on the album, but it does make me feel like underwater sounding the way it is, like not like steel drum sounding, but maybe like if you took a steel drum and like it just made it really, really spacey, which I'll go back a second so you can hear that as well. We brought it back down here. Oh, a little like pleading in that sound, I'm telling you. We're building with that synth in the back. The guitar melody's taking a back seat too. So now we're drawn to that synth sound, right? So something really smart happened here, which I don't think I've ever really paid this much attention to before. So we know what the intro guitar melody sounds like, right? We've heard it over and over and over. But what happened in that second verse is it started to slowly fade out into the background, and our ear was drawn to this new synth. Well, I say new, but they had introduced it before in the background, and they basically swapped the synth melody for the guitar melody. So now instead of the guitar melody being forward, the synth melody is brought up. And they did it really, really slowly, almost, I would say. So it's hard to know when that happened when you're listening for the first time. But now we're focusing on that, and it complements this new repeated, you know you hypnotize me always, that new vocal line, a lot better than the guitar riff did. And it's how we get to this kind of part where we're building with that until all the guitars come back in, and we've kind of ditched that idea of the first guitar melody, and now we're into this new melody. But they did it so well and so seamlessly that it doesn't feel disjointed while keeping continuity here. Which for a song that is about hypnosis, right, that's kind of interesting. They kind of planted this idea and let it grow, and we didn't even know that it happens. These layered parts so much for the vocals. So I hate to stop it there, but I did want to bring up one more thing before I might just let the song play out to the end. They did go from this like monotonous kind of repeated idea to building a chord progression over top of it, which is what happens whenever. So there's the "you know you hypnotize me always" that's repeated over and over in the back, and we get this layered vocal on top, which is a new melody. that's moving with a chord progression. And this, once again, is seamlessly implemented once we get to all the guitars coming in, all the instrumentation being there. And I really like this about this song, because it could have just kept repeating things, but it is a song that is evolving, even though it started like kind of full out. It's evolving in different ways rather than just getting louder, adding more instruments, kind of like Atlantic was. So it's a different kind of song, but I really do like what they did here. And I'm going to back up because, as you probably heard there, we're about to get into something different. Just ripping it. We're just fading out here, but you hear that synth part just kind of turning into this ethereal, it just hangs on some tension there at the end as it fades out. So I guess there's not really the in part there, the heavy part speaks for itself, right? It just goes. We get some, well, what's becoming less rare now, unclean sound from Vessel there, where he kind of just yells, and then we get this breakdown. Like, it's just a nasty breakdown, probably kind of the heaviest sound they've had up to this point in the breakdown like that. It's not unlike them to do breakdowns, but I was hyped when I heard this. It just brings the song up to that final level where we finally get just a nice chugging riff in the background. We've gone fully into that synth idea, but now we've added a cool guitar rhythm under it that almost like feels like a gent song, with a weird like offbeat syncopated rhythms that just punch you in the face. It's almost like getting brought out of hypnosis to some degree, forcefully by someone just like hitting you. So I wanted now to talk a little bit about the lyrics like I did on the last song. So we can kind of see this idea happening here of, I know the song's called Hypnosis, so it's a bit on the nose of what it is about, right? But just taking things from our protagonist here, right? Just do whatever you want. You know, we've got this sink your teeth, split my skin, make me bleed, right? This is interesting in the context of all of their music, because this motif comes up a lot. If you listen to Sundowning, there's a lot of like sink your teeth in me type stuff, diamond teeth. Just, I'm assuming that this has to do with love, right? But this is a very weird conception of you know, wanting someone to hurt you. Like, it's just very strange. But definitely, like, this is something that they want, right? We get that right off the bat with these verses. There's not many lyrics here, but it portrays in a very simplistic way this feeling of wanting to be completely enveloped by this other person. But it, as much as we see that, like, it's like, give me all that I want, it seems like it's this consensual thing going on. Why does it need to be hypnosis, though? Because this part, where we get this, you hypnotize me always repeated, right? If he wants this, why does he need to be hypnotized into it? It's almost like he's saying he doesn't have a choice here, which, to be fair, we don't really get a choice in who we love at the end of the day, right? So maybe this is kind of what's being talked about here with this. But even this part serves the song with its repetitiveness, because it kind of does lull you in to the song, maybe trying to help you understand what Vessel's going through, right? This idea of just being led by this other person to this other place, right, in your own head. Now, my theory is like all of this can take place without the other person even knowing it, right? This could be like Vessel's internal idea of what's going on. Maybe this other person he's infatuated with is just trying to live their life and he's like a creep, right? We don't really know. But we can tell here that he's very much needing this, apparently. With his hypnosis, he's, I guess, coming out of numbness or something like that with this melody that was going on over top, right? And you make it more than I could ever feel before, right? And obviously he like belabors this in the way he sings the song, so, but it's only just one sentence that is going through that entire flying, over top vocal line. And then, of course, right before we get to the part that kicks you in the gut, he screams, "And I am almost under." Which, it's weird for almost being under the spell for it to break this, like, trance-like state. It's an interesting idea thematically to get to this heavy part, like, right at the point where you would think it would be the most calm, like, almost under the control of whatever is hypnotizing you. And I wonder if with this octopus imagery, it's not kind of like you realize that maybe you're actually the prey item at this point, like you're being preyed upon, and this is like your realization right before you go under of what's actually happening. There's a lot of ways to interpret this somewhat straightforward song, in my opinion, and I do think that there is an ongoing motif in this entire album of the back and forth of wanting to be with somebody and having things happen that kind of break you out of that hypnosis, that trance, right? And the push and pull of that. But we'll get to see that more as we go through the next few songs and the rest of the album, obviously. But that's my thoughts on this song. Obviously, this song is just an absolute banger, especially at the end whenever it kind of brings us to that heavy place. I'm a sucker for that. But it's very much in Sleep Token style of making a song that slowly transforms over its runtime. And that's not the last we'll see of this and on this album and from them in general. So I hope you join me again for the next song. I'll go on to song number 3, Mine, in the next video. And once again, this is another great one. I have plenty to say about it. So I'll see you then.